Dr. C.V. Anandabose IAS reflects on the address of Sarsang Chalak, Honorable Mohan G. Bhagavat, on India in the global scenario.
Sarsang Chalak Mohanji Bhagavat has hit the nail on the head when he presented the need for India to play its rightful role as a binding force in the days to come in the new world order. We see India rising from its sleep like a giant and shaking its invincible locks. Thinkers and historians like Arnold Toynbee had predicted the emergence of India after the decline of the West. Arnold Toynbee says, "So now we turn to India, this spiritual gift that makes a man human is still alive in India's soul. Go on giving the world Indian examples of it. Nothing else can do so much to help mankind to save itself from destruction." That day has come when India should lead the world. And how is India equipped to play this global role? Military power was considered to be the prime mover in the growth and development of a nation. Yes, when the military power declined, we have seen nations and civilizations flounder. Rome was a leader of the Western world when their military supremacy was on the ascendant, and then started their decline. The Western world considered military might as a benchmark of prosperity. We had the world wars around us, and then the era of the Cold War came. The American bloc and the USSR bloc fought their way through proxy wars, through their allies in various theaters of war. With the decline of the Soviet Union, America came up as the leader of the unipolar world. Now the stage has come when the world is groping in the dark for a philosophy or a thought current which would move the world and bind the disparate elements together. This zest for unity amidst diversity leads one to the importance of India. India believes in Vasudhaiva Kudumbakam, Loka Samasta Sukhino Bhavantu. There cannot be any doctrine or philosophy which is more pluralistic and accommodative than the Hindu way of looking at things. India can conceive of a global environment where each nation retains its identity but shares the common goal, shaping up their own destiny in their own way. This universality of outlook is what distinguishes the Indian way of life from those of the West. India should realize its inner strength. It is not that the valor is missing in us. The valor is there, but we have lost our insight into it. The tiger cub in the forest happened to stray into the fold of the sheep. It thought it's a sheep. It never knew it's a tiger. It acquired the features and ways of the sheep. Once the hunters came. With the first shot, the sheep ran away helter-skelter, but not the tiger. The hunters caught the tiger, who panicked. The hunters knew the tiger does not realize its tigerhood. They took it to the pond. The tiger looked into the pond and saw its shadow. Scared by it, the tiger cub was made to roar. When it roared, its reflection in the water also roared. The tiger realized then that it's a tiger, not a sheep. A similar situation has presented itself before India. India should realize its inherent potentials, and the world should be made to realize it. World will be willing to realize it. Yes, the world will realize the gravitas that is India. For a while, we lived with the stereotype image that the West is material and the East is spiritual. Many doctrines in political philosophy had their entry and exit. Came liberal democracy and had its round for a while. Socialism appeared on the intellectual firmament and played on the central stage for some time. It was soon realized that individual freedom and socialism will not go hand in hand. Consumerism engulfed everything. The market forces started deciding the shape of things to come. The West played with ephemeral and transient models. Yes, they played with it as the ultimate for a while. The Indian ethos prevailed over millennia, teaching the world the essential unity of the humankind. It admits variety willingly in its fold. The Ishavasya Upanishad spells out clearly the magic of the essence of India, which sees the whole world as one. It is time for India to take the plunge. When we come to the bridge, we have to cross the bridge. Now we have to cross it. India has a capability to lead the world, and the right occasion has presented itself before us. Let every nation develop its own ways of taking its future forward. That plurality of outlook is well recognized and nurtured in the Indian philosophy. In every walk of life, India should make its presence felt. India should shake off the insularity and decide to play a vibrant role which a state can play in the emerging new world order. Through selfless service, one should be able to gain self-confidence and self-respect. Bharat should remain a contributor rather than a receiver in the world. India should not just be partakers of development that is going on around us, but should be participants in the development process. India has to rediscover itself. India should forge ahead with confidence and determination. India, which has been dormant for a brief while in history, should find its position and turn out to be the dispenser of the destiny of the world. What is the sum total of the inspiring words of Mohanji Bhagwat about India's role in the global context? What we heard in him was a powerful and a succinct reiteration of what Swami Vivekananda taught us. Arise, awake, and stop not till the goal is reached. Mohanji Bhagwat's timely exhortation to the nation is: the goal is far, the road is long, but the march is on, and we will reach our destination. Vande Mataram. Jai Bharat.